Hey guys, what's going on? Duffking56 here, back at the screen of a game that I have no idea. It's actually going to probably be a double feature where I feature two different games in the same commentary, because today I'm doing a topic commentary and I don't know how long I'm going to be talking for, so I do assume that it's going to be over 10 minutes, and obviously that's more than just one game can provide, and I'm going to be putting two up. So hopefully I will be under about 18 minutes or so. So sit back, relax, have yourself a cold drink of your choice, and let's get into our topic. Today I want to talk about motivation. And the reason why I want to talk about this is kind of twofold. One is because it's on my list, and two, it's because I've been thinking about this lately, which just a lot of things happening. I could watch it over, like a trend going over YouTube and just friends of mine and things of that nature. A lot of people are thinking about this. A lot of people might want to be thinking about this because the more and more you think about what you're motivated to do, and the more and more about you think about your motivation, I think the more and more you can hone down and sort of I don't know, sort of glean some sort of better perspective of what you're doing, why you're doing things. It might affect some sort of decisions that you might make about how you might want to start thinking about what you're doing, or how you might want to start going about what you're doing right now. But anyways, let's just talk about motivation as a whole. I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. It says motivation is a psychological feature that arouses an organism to action toward a desired goal and elicits, controls, and sustains certain goal-directed behaviors. So it's a drive, right? It's coming deep with inside of you, and it is bringing you to do things, whether it be something that is goal oriented, or something that you want to do, something you might not want to do but you have to do. But that all depends on the motivation, right? And what I wanted to talk about today just more specifically is extrinsic and intrinsic motivations. Now, extrinsic motivations, I'll start with those, is motivations that conflict your intrinsic motivations. Extrinsic motivations are things that are outside of yourself, right? Intrinsic means inside. It means personal. So extrinsic is something on the outside looking in that is motivating you to do something. So think about it like extrinsic. Oh my gosh, I can't even say the gosh darn words I'm going to be talking about the most of the commentary. I need to focus. But extrinsic motivations are things like money, fame, fortune, which is money, but fortune could be like more material, so like materialistic sort of motivations, to avoid punishment, to avoid negative consequences, things of that nature. So things that are coming in and affecting how you do things. And extrinsic motivations are good insofar that it might push you to do the things that you might not want to do. A lot of the times, obviously we don't want to be cleaning our rooms, obviously we don't want to be going to work full time, but there are extrinsic motivations, feeding your family, money, things like that, that are going to push you to do the things that you don't want to do. And in some cases, that's really good. But when it's directing everything, when it's directing, most importantly, like your education and your hobbies, it's something you want to think about, and something you might want to try to move towards the intrinsic. Because the intrinsic motivations, the things inside of you, are going to allow you to drive all the way through doing things, and it might actually help you reflect and turn things positive out of something you may not want to do. Something like education, something like hobbies, as I said before. So, extrinsic motivations. Personally, I can get extrinsically motivated fairly easily because money and things that are important to me. I like to have money to go out and buy things. I like to have money to buy games, to go out to dinner with friends, to be able to put gas in my car, etc., etc. But when it's governing things like education, I can't be extrinsically motivated at all. I can be partially extrinsically motivated, but it won't push me to my fullest extent. And that's what really ends up bothering me at the end of the day, because through my high school years, a lot of the times, it's like, oh, I'll take your Xbox away if you don't do well in school. Oh, you won't be able to go to your friend's house unless you finish your homework. Oh, blah, 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 this and that. That would not bring me to do my best work. And I think a lot of parents may misunderstand this notion that extrinsic motivation is the only way to drive my kid to do something, especially with school. And that's incorrect. I think that's largely a large misconception in the adult world, and that they think that the only way that you can get your kid to do something is to kick them in the ass until they do it, and they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. I don't like that model, because I think that you lose sight on the bigger goal, and I think that it's poor practice, because once your kid goes off to college, then you're going to find that that student can only be extrinsically motivated. And when they're out dorming and they're not even home, you're not even there to extrinsically motivate them, they won't do anything. They won't get anything done, and whatever they do is going to be crap. So think about it that way. Especially in the high school years too. I can be motivated to do anything at all. I just feel like, man, I just wouldn't try. I wouldn't do homework unless I had to do it, right at the end. I became a pretty good bullshitter in my day, I have to say. My procrastination skills are off the charts. I rank in probably the 99th percentile, as just about everyone I know has. But that is because high school, I could never intrinsically motivate myself. I was never challenged in ways that I've never been challenged before. I've never had experiences that allowed for intrinsic motivation. My teachers never tailored assignments towards intrinsic motivation. They would just have assignments that punished you for not doing them, or punished you in that they made you do them a certain way, maybe a way that you didn't like, maybe a way that you could not research or do. And I don't like that. I think that we need to move towards assignments and towards goal-oriented activities and things of that nature in the school environment, at home, in society, that pushes for intrinsic motivation. Now, this is going to be tough because the social norm is that everything is extrinsically motivated, especially my stuttering, apparently, is motivated by the outside telling me to stop, and it's pressuring me. But, a lot of things like money, avoid punishing people, late fees, things like that, really do not allow you to get anything out of what you're doing. Or, in this case, I feel that it makes you stop loving what you do. Think about that. Just think about it. Think about all the things you do right now, and whether you're not, what extrinsic motivations. There's probably an extrinsic motivation that is tied to everything that we do in life, even breathing. As I breathe right now, there's something extrinsically motivating you. And the second you can find that, I want you to think about how you can intrinsically motivate yourself. Now let's talk about intrinsic motivation, and then I'll try to tie it all together in the end. Intrinsic motivation is doing something for the sake of itself. Got it? It's doing something for the sake of itself. So that means, right now, I'm talking to myself for the sake that I just goddamn love talking to myself. And I love making videos, right? I record videos because there is nothing else that I would rather do right now on a Sunday afternoon. Saturday. Jesus. Terrible today. I gotta remember my days, my numbers, and my pronunciations. I gotta practice on those. But seriously, I love doing this. And when I look back and I say, why the hell am I doing this? I say, God damn, I love doing this. I just love doing it. I love making a video and putting it out into the void. I love it for the sake of itself. Why do people like to play sports when they're not professionals? Why would you play golf? Why would you play football? Why would you play hockey? Why would you play baseball if you aren't making $1 million a year, a pitch, a swing, whatever, a throw? Why? Because you love the sport. You love the game that you're playing. You love going out and doing it, right? Why do we do homework if we're not getting paid for it? Well, in most cases, it's because we're going to get our asses punished if we don't do it. But what? What if we did homework? What if we studied for our test? What if we did that project just because we love doing it? Just because there's something that you can get out of it personally, something that you love, something that, I don't know, doing a video project at school. Why would I love to do a video project at school? Because I fucking love editing videos, and I love producing things that are from myself. I love watching them after I do them. That's why I would watch and I listen to myself. Not because I love hear myself talking, although that's fairly shallow and probably true in some aspects and regards. But it's also because I love doing it. Why the hell was I studying for biochemistry if I'm not going to be a biochemistry major, if I'm not even going to teach it when I become a teacher? Because I want to be a high school teacher, for biology at least. Why did I study it? Because in the end, I'm looking at this information and I just said, God damn, I love biology. I love biochem. I love cellular biology. It is so cool to watch our cells and the parts of our cells and the microenvironments coexist and interact independently and dependently of each other to allow us life. There's just something that makes me smile when I think about that. There's something that makes me smile when I read about it. There's something that makes me smile in class when they talk about it, when our teachers talk about it. And a lot of people might just say, well, you're a nerd. No, I'm just intrinsically motivated by it. Like I said before, think of the sports example. Why the hell would my friend play squash or golf or anything, and she's not even making any money on it? Because she loves the games. That's why I stopped playing tournament golf, and that's why I stopped striving to a dream that was never going to come true of playing college golf and maybe playing competitively, amateurly. It wasn't going to happen. I loved golf for the fact that it was golf. I love spending 3.5 hours walking 8 miles or whatever you do by myself because I loved it. And I love being out there and I love hitting the golf ball. Apply it to anything now. You need to find something in your life that you do simply just because you love it. I'll let you think about that. Dramatic pausing, I love it, right? It's just, you guys get all that high, and I get on that stream of consciousness rant, and then I just bring it down like this, and you know it's serious, and it's awesome. But think about it, really. I want you to reevaluate everything that you do, or at least the things that you do that you think you love, and find out why. What motivates you? What brings you to do some of the most monotonous tasks in your day? Why do you walk your dog when you can house train your dog? And you don't even have to go out there with your dog and pick up its crap every day. Probably because you love that dog and you love going out and spending time with your dog or cat, whatever. If you take your cat out, good for you. I'm not a cat person. I'm allergic to everything with fur, so I'm good enough that I like dogs. But think about it. Reflection is an amazing tool, and if you use it constructively, like I do, every day, then you'll be able to glean something from this. You'll be able to take away something from this, and you might even discover something about yourself, or about your hobbies, or about your interests, or about everything that you've been told since you started school. You need to pick apart the extrinsic and the intrinsic motivations, and you need to think about it. You need to say, is it really good that I can get extrinsically motivated by this? Or I can see that I really can't get motivated about this at all, but what if I could find something that I really like to do in this? When I did a stint at a school where I had to teach a lesson this semester, everyone came up to me and they said, Mr. Blank, my last name, why do you teach science? Why do you want to teach science? Why do you like science? I hate science. How could you teach it? And I would look at them and I'd say, because I love it. Because I love kids, first of all, I would love to teach. Because I love biology. And I love, well, they call it living environment. I love the living environment. I love talking about it. I love thinking about it. I love discussing it. I love teaching it. Just for the sake that it is biology. And it is something I can get motivated about. It is something that gets me so goddamn excited that my hands are bald right now and my fingers are white. That's how much I love it. And you need to think about that. And you can go back and you can reflect on anything. If you make YouTube videos, you need to think about why. Do you make it because you like the money? Do you make it because you like the audience? Those are great extrinsic motivations. Actually, I mean, the audience is a great intrinsic, that's sort of, it's a weird dynamic that I might even talk about after this. But do you love making videos? Do you really love recording? Do you really love editing? Do you really love producing? If you do, then this is it, man. This is awesome. And if you smile every time that you put up a video, that you upload a video, not even when you get a comment, not even when you get a subscriber, but when you talk about it, and when you upload it, and when you discuss it with other video makers on Twitter or Facebook or however you do it, over Skype, whatever, Steam, any sort of social media outlet. Do you love sharing what you do with other people? Are you embarrassed to say it? Or are you proud to stand up and say, God damn, I love making gaming videos. I love making podcasts. I love making blank commentary, topic commentary, anything. Motivations, man. Good stuff. Think about it. This has been formal and informal. Definitely a little 2 licks of the face here, but seriously, think about it. That's all I ask. What motivates you? Find something. Find something intrinsic that you can intrinsically motivate yourself about mathematics, or your least favorite subject, about English, about history. Think about it. I hate history, but when I think and I study and I read about history, there's one thing that I really like about history, and it's the fact that, yes, it's written down, and yes, it happened. But let's think about hypotheticals for a second. What if blank about history? I love thinking about the hypotheticals about history. My friend Daniel and I, He's a history major and I'm not. But I told him, man, if you have a chance to put an elective out, put out an elective for hypothetical history or conditional history, where you teach about the more famous events in history, the Holocaust, World War I, World War II, things like that. And just take an event and say, what if this didn't happen? Or what if this person did this instead of that? What if Hitler didn't kill any of the Jews? You know, what if the United States was never originally colonized? Things like that. And it's like the things like that inspire me to go study and research more about history. Even though I might do it actively, I might do it passively by just like watching the History Channel and thinking about it when I'm watching a special on, you know, insert event here. But it's something that I can intrinsically motivate myself to do, and it will drive me to reach some sort of goals that I set for myself. So I challenge you to do that this week, this coming week, where a lot of you guys are going back to school, a lot of you guys aren't going back to school. Take it with a grain of salt and just reflect, man. Just go back and look at the things that you've done and the things that you're going to do. And I challenge you to find something that you can intrinsically motivate yourself with. Even if you gosh darn hate it, you just don't think it'll ever happen. This is important. And like I said, I really think this could drive you to do things that you could never hope to achieve in that subject. When I started Biochem Cell Bio, I was extrinsically motivated. Purely extrinsically motivated, grade-driven, and oriented. I wanted to pass that class so I could go on. So I could do the next level and so I can get rid of this for my major requirement. But as I reflected, and this might have came more late than I wanted it to, but I found that I could intrinsically motivate myself just based on some of the things that we were talking about. And I can still talk about it now. I could still pass and probably get an 80 or above on our final exam if I took it again right now. And I've been 3 weeks out of school. And this is where you forget everything. But man, I love that stuff so much. It's sticking in my mind as vividly as I can remember studying it and talking to it with my friend Evan. And I hope you're watching this, because you can definitely intrinsically motivate yourself about biology. And anyone can. Anyone can be amused by the wonders of life and science and how science works and how life works. Because there's a lot of things that we don't know. And there's a lot of things you can research about that. But seriously, I challenge you right now to think about why you do everything you do. And find the intrinsic and the extrinsic. And see if you can separate them and see if you can evaluate whether it's a good extrinsic motivation you have or bad. Because a lot of people have great extrinsic motivation. My friend John has a child. That is a great extrinsic motivation to go and work, to go and get money, to go and feed your child and feed your family and be a great father. Because that thing, that sack of flesh, that screams at you and shits itself, is something that you are so very proud of and motivated by. And maybe there's intrinsic there too. Maybe you just love taking care of things. Maybe you're just a nurturing sort of person. Maybe you should be a nurse. But maybe there's just something in it of itself, in the fact that you are taking care of this kid, that will just motivate you to the ends of the earth to protect it and to nurture and to have it grow in your eyes. Think about it. That's all I ask. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little topic commentary. It took me a while to get started, but I'm pretty proud of this thinking back on it now. Hopefully that a lot of you guys will have a discussion with me, because some of you guys are wildly intelligent. You guys just won't share it a lot, you know. But if you have any ideas too, and maybe you want to discuss this in private or whatever, come talk to me, man. I will respond all the time as long as I get the message and I have enough time. But seriously, man, if you have any ideas on anything else you'd like me to talk about as well, feel free to put it in the comment section. Hope you guys have enjoyed this double feature commentary on motivation. I'll see you guys later. It's been Nuff56. Have a great night, guys. Peace out. Bye.